Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hope begs Thomas not to marry Paris, Steffy's secret revealed. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers recap for Tuesday, June 25th, reveals that Hope Logan plotted to reuse the news of Thomas Forrester and Paris Buckingham's engagement, but Douglas Forrester gushed over how important fun they all had in Paris. Douglas also told Hope that she didn't have to worry since Thomas loved Paris for real. Once Douglas left to find Ridge Forrester and Steffy Forrester, Paris also made herself scarce. After Hope set up herself alone with Thomas again, she flew off the handle. Hope admitted she allowed Thomas came back to renew their life together, but he said he wanted break the engagement news in person. Once Hope brought up the fact that Douglas was calling Paris mom, Thomas allowed. That was reasonable since they were going to be married. Hope had a hard time understanding how Thomas could move on so snappily like they were nothing, but he refocused out that Paris wanted to marry him. After Hope reminded Thomas that she just wasn't ready to take that step, Thomas said that part of him would always love Hope, but he'd to move on. Although what Thomas had with Hope was special, he argued that what he participated with Paris was special, too. Hope cried as she reflected on Thomas being her North Star when her life was upside down. Once Hope guessed Thomas was a one-woman man for Paris now, she asked if he was sure he loved her. Thomas claimed that he asked Paris to marry him, but Hope didn't suppose his new relationship could indeed begin to compare to what they endured together. As Hope continued to cry, she talked about how deep and real her own relationship with Thomas had been. This didn't have to be how it ended according to Hope, who said they could have so important future ahead if Thomas would choose a different path. Hope claimed they could still have it all and added that he didn't have to marry Paris. The gashes kept falling as Hope prayed Thomas not to go through with this. In the design office on Tuesday's B&B occasion, Steffy trashed Hope's line to Ridge again and acted like Hope had been going off the rails since Thomas left with Douglas. Although Steffy knew Hope criticized her for Thomas' decision to leave, she said she wasn't the reason he chose to go. Steffy refocused out that indeed Thomas understood that since she'd been in touch with him enough frequently on videotape exchanges. Douglas suddenly appeared, so he got some leverages from Ridge and Steffy as he surprised them with his homecoming. Steffy and Ridge realized this meant Douglas came back with Thomas, but Douglas refocused out that Thomas' fiancé was there, too. Steffy hugged Paris as she entered and admitted to Ridge that she knew Thomas was dating Paris, but she didn't realize they were engaged. Ridge sounded uneasy over the engagement updates, but Douglas claimed he was happy and that Thomas loved Paris for real. Once Douglas dashed off to find Charlie Weber, Steffy told Ridge that it wasn't her place to say anything about Paris and Thomas' relationship. Paris confessed that they weren't sure how Ridge would reply since it happened presto. That said, Paris defended their love and talked about how trying to cheer Thomas over turned into a profound connection. Paris claimed that she loved Thomas and knew he really loved her. Once Paris conceded that Hope knew about the engagement, she explained that Thomas was in the other room talking to her. Steffy wondered if it was wise to leave Hope and Thomas alone considering their history. Although Steffy knew Thomas had moved on, she didn't know if Hope was ready to let go. Paris wasn't insecure about her relationship and felt certain that Thomas was over Hope, so she didn't partake Steffy's enterprises. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Hope may spin out indeed more now that Thomas is digging his heels in on this new marriage, so stick with us for further prognostications on the rocky road ahead. Thomas sacrifices his engagement to save Steffy's marriage? The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers tease that bodacious fiancé Thomas Forrester is back in LA, but not with Hope Logan. Spoiler alert, he's engaged to Paris Buckingham of all people. See, living together in his little apartment all those times agone. Paid off. Perhaps now she can save the world on a wider scale, what with the Forrester name soon to be attached to her moniker. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Paris Buckingham and Thomas Forrester sitting in a tree, but let's face it, Paris could be just a distraction for Thomas who swore he'd love Hope for life, or until her mannequin doll was dusted off. Now that he's back, Thomas could be about to make a shocking discovery that Hope wasted no time getting over him. All it took was a couple of massages from John Finnegan's Magic Fritters, and voila, Hope traded her dream mate. Hope's propinquity to Finn angers Steffy Forrester due to her influence regarding Sheila Sharp. This could set the stage for a wild new Thope chapter. Steffy has no idea that Hope is crushing on Finn. She probably will plump her family's engagement to Paris Buckingham, but will the miss be left at the altar at alternate time? B&B spoilers, Thope take off? Thomas' fiancé could get Hope spending further time featuring about Finn, maybe indeed acting on her mischievous impulses. After all, she did just that in Rome when she cheated on Liam Spencer with Thomas. Will Thomas asset Hope and Finn in an intimate moment, maybe another bone? Of those sensuous hand massages? Finn doesn't feel to mind giving Hope what he considers to be medical TLC, but Thomas knows how Hope's mind works. Still, it'll be her former nut if anyone figures out what's going on in Hope's head. Thomas is fiercely pious to Steffy. How far would he go to save her marriage? The bold and the beautiful spoilers, will Thomas Forrester sacrifice himself? Thomas could suppose it's his fraternal duty to come between Finn and Hope. But at what cost to his engagement? Tell us B&B suckers, do you suppose that Thomas will catch on to what's going on in Hope's mind, and if so, how far would he go to save Steffy's marriage? Thomas advertisement, Ridge's vaticination, Hope's plea. The bold and the beautiful recap for Tuesday, June 25, 2024, indicate that Hope Logan is stupefied that Paris Buckingham and Thomas Forrester are engaged. The bold and the beautiful recap highlights Thomas was trying to tell Hope, Douglas Forrester thinks he said commodity wrong. Thomas says he proposed and Paris accepted. Ridge Forrester and Steffy Forrester talk about how Hope for the future hasn't been the same since Thomas left. The bold and the beautiful recap, Hope Logan begs for another chance. Hope cannot believe that Thomas just came back to city to advertise his engagement. Thomas didn't feel that a phone call was applicable. Hope wants to know when this happened. Thomas and Paris started hanging out when he got to Forrester International. Douglas says he has missed his mama a lot and goes to see his granddad and Steffy. Hope cannot believe Thomas only came back to city for this. Hope prodigies how she could have been so wrong. Hope aloud. Everything was going to be okay. Hope aloud. Thomas came back to her. Hope is furious that Douglas is calling Paris mama. Paris knows why Thomas had to leave LA. Hope believes he's moving too presto. Paris wants to marry him, Hope didn't. Hope says there are other ways to be committed. A part of Thomas will always love Hope, but he to move on, she gave him no choice. Hope says Thomas could have stayed and they could have worked this out. Thomas has knows Paris for a long time. Thomas will no way forget what they had. Hope wants to know how he could move on so presto. Thomas tells Hope it's going to be okay. Thomas was her constant, her northern star. Hope could always look to Thomas for guidance and stability. Thomas was her one-woman man. Thomas still is, but she isn't that woman presently. Hope asks if Thomas is sure he loves Paris. Hope asks if Thomas loves Paris. Thomas asked her to marry him. Trending. B&B spoilers. Thomas sacrifices his engagement to save Steffy's marriage? Thomas proposed to Hope doubly, and she turned him down. Hope says what Thomas has with Paris will no way be close to what they had. Hope says what they had wasn't a temporary thing, they created commodity beautiful.